This is for the geometry midterm practice problems, part 1. All right, we have a plane here with points on it, and they want to know what is another name for plane P. All right, so this P right here is the name of a plane. That is not a point, so we can't use P for this. Another name for plane P, you want to use 3 non-collinear points. In other words, 3 points that are not on the same line. Okay, of course they have to be on the plane, but they can't be on the same line. So some examples, we can say B, A, E. All right, we can say C, D, E. So basically any 3 points that are on this blue plane but not on the same line. We can say B, B, A, D. And so on. All right. This is line L, so you can't choose that as a point. This is line M, you can't choose that. H is this point, it's not on the plane. Name the opposite rays that make line L. Okay, right here, this line is line L. So we have the ray that starts at E and goes to D, and we have the ray that starts at E and goes to A. So we have ED and EA. So that's going to be ED and EA. Now, when you name a ray with the arrow on top, the arrow always points to the right. Even if the ray points to the left, the arrow on top always points to the right. Okay, the first letter is the endpoint letter. It's where it starts. So since it started here, this letter was first. And it went from E to D and E to A. So opposite rays make a line. All right, so when you put them together like that, they have to make a line. Name a point that is collinear with points A and E. Collinear means same line. So we want to look for points A and E. Okay, here's A. Here's E. If this is the line A and E are on, then the third point is point D. They're all on the same line, AED, collinear. So AED. Okay, here they want us to find the value of DE. That's this length right here. Now the whole thing is 35 and this piece is 21. So this right here is just going to be 35 minus 21. And that is going to equal 14. All right, number 5, nearest whole number. What is the distance between these 2 points? The formula will be given on the exam. All right, so we know that the x-coordinate is always written first, and the y-coordinate is written second. So we can make this x1, y1, and x2, y2. All right. So we have the square root, x2 minus x1. That's going to be 6 minus negative 9 inside the parentheses. 6 minus negative 9. And that gets squared. y2 minus y1. That's going to be negative 2 minus 3 inside the parentheses. We have negative 2 minus 3. and that gets squared. Remember, the two negatives in a row make it positive. 6 plus 9 is 15, and that gets squared. Negative 2 minus 3 is actually negative 5, and that gets squared. 15 squared, 15 times 15, that's 225. Negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. Okay, remember this step, when you square it, it's always going to be positive. 225 plus 25 is 250. Okay, and we're going to go to the calculator and do the square root of 250. The squiggly lines means we're going to round off, and it said nearest whole number. Okay, so radical 250, close parentheses and hit equals. 15.8, since it's 5 or more after the decimal, we're going to round it up to 16, nearest whole number. So this right here, rounded off, is just 16. And that is the distance between the 2 points. All right, midpoint. The midpoint formula, it's basically the same as the average of the two numbers, the average of the x's and the average of the y's. So let's start with the x's. Okay, we have negative 5 plus 4, right? You add the x's and divide by 2. Negative 5 plus 4 divided by 2. And then comma, and then do the y's. Add them and divide by 2. We have 3 plus negative 7 3 plus negative 7 divided by 2. All right. Negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1, and that's over 2. 3 plus negative 7 is negative 4. And that's over 2. And finally, nothing you can do with negative 1/2 unless you want to make it negative 0.5, but that's the same thing. And negative 4 over 2 is negative 2. Final answer. Okay, number 7, it says the measure of angle ACB is 175. So this is ABC. ABC, this whole thing from ABC is 175. Okay, so we have this angle here, and we have this angle here. If we add them together, they should be 175. So that's what I'm going to do. 6x minus 17. This is the angle addition postulate. So we're just adding angles. Plus 4x minus 8. And combined, they equal 175. All right, like terms, we have x's here. 6x plus 4x is 10x. Like terms, negative 17 and negative 8. So negative 17 plus negative 8 is negative 25. And that equals 175. Solving for x, we add 25 to both sides. All right, 25 minus 25 is gone. Bring down the 10x. 175 plus 25 is 200. And this is x times 10. The opposite of times 10 is divided by 10. X equals 200 over 10, which is just 20. All right, so I just asked for x. If you wanted the actual angle, you would plug in for x. But it just said, what is the value for x? 8. Given that ray AC bisects angle DAB, what is the value of x? All right, so bisect means to cut in half. So ray AC is this ray right here, and it's bisecting DAB. This is DAB, so it's cutting it in half. Since it cuts it into two equal halves, that means this one angle is going to equal that angle. So just set them equal. 4x minus 28 is going to equal 2x plus 70. Okay, I always like to subtract the smaller x. So since 2x is smaller, I'm going to subtract that one. 2x minus 2x is gone. 4x minus 2x is 2x. All right, if my letters are on the left, I want the numbers on the right. The opposite of negative 28 is positive 28. And right here, 28 minus 28, gone. Bring down the equals. 70 plus 28 is 98. And this is x times 2. The opposite of times 2 is divided by 2 on both sides. Cancels here, and 98 divided by 2 is 49. Okay, I just asked you to solve for x. If you wanted an actual angle, you would take that x and plug it in. Okay, this should really say number 9, not 19. Nearest whole number, what is the circumference of a circle with a radius of 18.2? All right, so r, the radius, equals 18.2, and that's in centimeters. So you can just use the formula here. That's going to be 2 times pi, which is 3.14. Or you can use the pi key, and times r, that's 18.2. So for r, I'm going to use 18.2, and that's in centimeters. All right, so this one is pi, and this one is r. So just use the calculator. 2 times 3.14 times 18.2, and I get 114.296. If you use the pi key, it's only going to be a tiny bit different. In fact, it's more accurate, but nevertheless, it's about the same. And if you round to the nearest whole number, it will be the same. Okay, so you look at the first decimal. If it's less than 5, you round it down. That's going to be 114, and the units were in centimeters. So it's just multiplication and using the formula. All right, on the protractor, what is the measure of angle ABD? So if we go from A to B to D, that's this angle right here. All right, so you just subtract the numbers, stick with the ones on top or the bottom, and you can put the bigger number first. So if you do the bottom, we have 180 minus this right here, which is 55. Okay, so that's going to be 180 minus 55. And of course, that's just 125. If you want to stick with the numbers on the top, same thing. You just put the bigger number first. This is 125 right here. So 125, and the other number on top is 0. All right, of course, 125 minus 0 is still just 125. So same thing either way. All right, classify ABD. Well, we said it was 125, so that makes it obtuse. The small one is acute little angle. That's from 0 to 90. Right angle is 90. Straight angle is 180. All right, obtuse is 90 to 180. So 125 falls in this range here. Number 12, which angles are vertical? All right, you want to look for the X shape with two straight lines. So I'm looking at this here and this right here. The angles across from each other are vertical. So this one here And this one here, the ones across from each other are vertical. So that's going to be angle 2 and angle 1. All right, in the diagram, if angle 5 is a right angle, which angles are complementary? That is 2 angles that add to 90 degrees. So I'm going to draw a right angle at angle 5. Okay, at angle 5, I'm going to make this a right angle. And since this is a straight line here, that's going to be 180. If this is 90, then this one here is also 90. So angles 3 and 1 together equal 90 degrees. These two are complementary, angle 3 and 1 combined. So complementary, angle 3 and angle 1. All right, area of the rectangle. Area is just going to be length times width. You want to convert this to an improper fraction. You do 1 times 8, which is 8 plus 5, that's 13. Divided by 8. Okay, length times width, that's going to be 3/4 times 13 over 8. Multiplying numerators, 3 times 13 is 39. 4 times 8 is 32. Nothing you can do with that, so that's it. All right, number 15, we're looking for EAD. So this is EAD right here. That's this angle. Okay, so in other words, we're just solving for X. And I can see vertical angles already. If you see this straight line here and this straight line here. Therefore, if this one is 86, the one over here, that whole thing is also going to be 86. So X plus 23 equals 86. Okay, solving for X, just do minus 23 on both. Cancels here. Bring down the X. 6 minus 3 is 3. 8 minus 2 is 6. So that's it. All right, these angles form a linear pair. A linear pair is when you have 2 angles that make a straight line. All right, you can draw it if you want, but you don't have to. So we have ABD. All right, so I'll put a point here and make it ABD. And the other one is DBC, so DBC. All right, ABD is 5x minus 13. That goes right in here. All right, 5x minus 13. And this one here is 3x minus 7. All right. So these 2 angles, when you add them together, they make that straight line. So when you add them together, they're going to equal 180 once you combine them. All right, because that's a straight line. That's what a linear pair is. All right, so 5x minus 13. And we're going to add that to 3x minus 7. And combine, they equal 180. All right, 5x plus 3x, combining like terms, that's 8x. Constant terms, negative 13 and negative 7 is negative 20. And that equals 180. Solving for x, the opposite of negative 20 is plus 20. 20 minus 20 is gone. Bring down 8x. 180 plus 20 is 200. and dividing both sides by 8. It cancels here. 8 into 16 goes 2 times, carry the 4. 8 into 40 is 5. All right, use your calculator if you can't do that, but x is 25. So that's it. If you wanted the actual angle, you would plug in for x right here, and they should add to 180. All right, what is the value of QT? That's the distance from Q to T on the number line. So Q is here between -4 and -2. That's going to be -3. And T is at 4. So you just subtract. It's just going to be 4 minus -3. Put the bigger number first because it has to be positive. The 2 negatives in a row make it plus, and 4 plus 3 is 7. Now, what happens if you subtract the wrong way? Well, you just take the absolute value. All right, if you did -3 minus 4 and took the absolute value, that would be the absolute value of -7, and that makes it +7. So same thing no matter how you subtract. But to me, it's easier to put the bigger number first. All right, number 17, the midpoint of SQ. S is in between 0 and 2, so that's going to be a 1. Midpoint is the same as average, so you add and divide by 2. So S is at 1, and Q is at -3. You add and divide by 2. 1 plus -3 is -2. Divided by 2 is going to be -1. So right here would be the midpoint. 18, nearest whole number. What is the area of a circle with a diameter of 17? Okay, diameter is represented with D, so that's 17. But for the area, you need the radius. Okay, so we're going to have to take half of D to get the radius. So that's going to be 1/2 times the diameter. We said the diameter was 17. All right, 1/2 of 17. And that's just 17 divided by 2, which is actually 8.5 or 8.5. Okay, you can write 17 halves, but that's going to be difficult to square, a little bit more difficult. So the area is going to be pi, which is 3.14. And that's times r squared. We said r is 8.5. So that's times 8.5 squared. All right, I'll do this on the calculator. And I get this number here. Nearest whole number, you just look at the first decimal. If it's 5 or more, you round it up. So that's going to be 227. And the units were in feet. But when you square the radius, it becomes feet squared. Remember, area units are always squared. All right, line A is parallel to line B. Measure of angle 8 is 43. So this one right here is 43. And we want to find the measure of angle 1. So that's this one right here. All right. So since, see, these lines are parallel, plus it was in the write-up that A is parallel to B. So all the angles are either congruent or supplementary. Okay, we can see right here, this angle is obtuse and this angle is acute. So they are supplementary. They're going to add to 180. So the measure of angle 1 plus 43 is going to equal 180. Okay, solving for this, same as solving for x. You just subtract 43 on both sides and cancels here. Bring down the measure of angle 1. And this is, bring down the equals. This is 137 degrees. All right, another way you can look at it, same side is supplementary, but it has to be interior, exterior. So this is exterior, this is exterior. They're both on this left side, the same side. Exteriors are supplementary. They add to 180. You can tell by looking at it. When you have the parallel lines, you can tell which ones are congruent. The acute angles are congruent, and the obtuse angles are congruent. If you take a small angle and a big angle, they're going to add to 180, but only if the lines are parallel. All right, what is the value of x? Same side supplementary. See, we have the parallel lines right here. This is your transversal that's cutting through. Both of these angles are on the left-hand side of the transversal. So these are same side. That means they are supplementary. That means they add to 180. So 117 plus 2x minus 53 is going to equal 180. All right, combine like terms first before you do stuff to each side. We have 117 minus 53. That is going to be 64. All right, we still have positive 2x, nothing to combine. And it equals 180. Solving for x, we want to get rid of the 64. The opposite of positive 64 is negative 64. Cancels here, bring down your 2x. 180 minus 64 is going to be 116. Okay, 180 minus 64. And then this is x times 2. The opposite of times 2 is divided by 2. And this is going to equal 58. And that is in degrees. Okay, in this diagram, we want to find A, B, C, and D. For college prep, you don't have to find B. So you want to look, when you have these parallel lines here, we have them on both sides, top and bottom, left, right. You want to look for the Z shape. You want to look for the Z shape or the N shape. And the angles inside the Z or inside the N are going to be congruent because they are alternate interiors. All right, so if I wanted to find angle A, I would just wrap around angle A and make a Z shape, even if it's backwards. So angle A matches 31. All right, so angle A is just 31 degrees. All right, and do that with any other angle that's possible. So let's see. Let's do it again. Let's look at angle C right here. I'm going to wrap around angle C with the N or the Z. So angle C and angle 63 are both inside. That's alternate interior. So C is 63. All right. And one more we can do like this. Let's see. We can wrap around angle D, right? Here's angle D. Let's wrap around that one. Angle D, wrap around. Wrap around, make the Z or the N. 47 matches angle D. So D is just 47. All right. Now for angle B, if we wrap around angle B, we get B equals B. So that doesn't help us. All right. So this part will be for honors only. You can still watch it even if you're in college prep. But we have the parallel lines on the top and the bottom. And this line here is cutting through. So same side or supplementary. So this angle here and this angle here are supplementary. Okay, so B plus 63 plus 31 plus D is going to equal 180. All right, B plus 63 plus D plus 31 equals 180. Okay, B we don't know. D we said was 47. Okay, and that equals 180. Combining like terms, positive, 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 add them up. 63 and 47, 110 plus 31, that's going to be a 141 equals 180. Okay, plus 141, the opposite is minus 141. Then it cancels here. Bring down the B. 180 minus 141 is 39. So that's it. All right, in the diagram, what is the value of X that would make C parallel to D? Well, if these lines were parallel and this was your transversal, once again, they're both angles are on the same side. Same side interior is supplementary. So this plus this equals 180. And if that were true, that would make them parallel, the lines parallel. So 57 plus 3x minus 18 is going to equal 180. Combining likes, 57 minus 18. Let's see, 57 minus 20 is 37. That's going to be 39. And we still have 3x, nothing to combine. Equals 180. Okay, solving for 3x. We want to get rid of 39. Cancels here. Bring it down. 180 minus 39 is 141. And dividing both sides by 3. 3 into 12 goes 4 times, carry the 2. 3 into 21 goes 7 times. So if X were 47, that would make the lines parallel. Last one. Exterior angle theorem. You make an exterior angle by extending the side. Okay, so the exterior angle equals the sum of the interiors that are not next to it or not adjacent. So 132 is going to equal the sum of these two angles. So angle 1 we don't know. And this one is 49. Measure of angle 1 plus 49. Solving for measure of angle 1, we subtract 49 from both sides. Cancels here. Bring down the measure of angle 1. Bring down the equals. Let's see. I'll make this 2 and I'll make this 12. 12 minus 9 is 3. 12 minus 4 is 8. Measure of angle 1 is 83 degrees. If you want to check, add them up. And they should equal 132.